The short-term noise is deafening, but today, we zoom out. We are mapping Shiba Inu's next 3 years. Can the combined power of Shibarium, token burns, and institutional adoption finally propel the token past critical resistance and back into a zero-erasing bull run? This is the long-term reality check the SHIB army needs right now. Let's break down the 2028 forecast. Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more SHIB news, be sure to click the like button. Please note that by the time you see this video, some rates may have changed. Financial advice is not included in this video. Shiba Inu is trading at approximately 989 units, showing minor consolidation following recent market volatility. The 24-hour trading volume is around $165 million, which reflects a moderate level of activity, dominated by short-term trading patterns. The token's market capitalization stands just above $5.8 billion. Technical indicators, such as the Relative Strength Index, remain firmly in the neutral zone, signaling a lack of strong directional conviction among traders, positioning the asset perfectly for its next major structural move. The core event shaping Shiba Inu's long-term price narrative is not a single price spike, but the maturation of the Shibarium Layer 2 network and the subsequent increase in its intrinsic burn mechanism. After over a year since its launch, Shibarium's cumulative block count is nearing 14 million, cementing its infrastructural integrity. However, its crucial long-term impact hinges on translating this infrastructure into consistent, high-volume transactions, which directly power the token burn mechanism. This transition from meme coins to a deflationary, utility-driven ecosystem is the single most important factor for any multi-year price projection. Long-term price forecasts are heavily predicated on two key supply-side metrics, the burn rate and the circulating supply. Analyst models indicate that to reach its previous all-time high, Shiba Inu requires either a market capitalization increase of nearly 10 times or a drastic reduction in its circulating supply, which currently stands at over 589 trillion tokens. According to reports compiled by financial news outlets, realistic long-term prediction models suggest that major price appreciation will only occur when the burn mechanism begins removing tokens in the trillions per quarter, a target that Shibarium is currently falling short of achieving based on its present transaction volume. A recent development reported is the planned Shibarium utility expansion efforts, designed specifically to boost speed and scalability, aiming to increase the transaction volume necessary for the high burn rate. Market analysts hold a polarized view on Shiba Inu's long-term potential. The bullish case, supported by technical analysts, argues that the consolidation phase seen throughout 2025 has created a robust base for the next major bull market cycle, which could materialize between 2026 and 2028. This view projects a trajectory similar to Ethereum's scaling solution, where utility eventually catches up to network hype. Crucially, the long-term price is now being detached from short-term Bitcoin movements and increasingly tied to the utility adoption of Shibarium's DeFi gaming and metaverse initiatives. A critical long-term indicator is the reported interest in shortlisting Shiba Inu for a potential US-based spot ETF, which, if approved in the coming years, would open the floodgates to institutional capital. The Shiba Inu developer team remains focused on the technology-driven long-term vision. Official statements, often relayed by key figures, consistently emphasize the need for patience, while the ecosystem components, Shibarium, SHIB, the metaverse, and Treat, are built out. Community reaction to the long-term forecast is generally one of conviction, rooted in the belief in the deflationary mechanism and the sheer size of the SHIB army. While retail investors often focus on the zero-killing narrative, the core community trackers see the 3-year timeline as reasonable for Shibarium to achieve the transaction volume needed to validate the token's worth beyond pure speculation. Social metrics show sustained, albeit reduced, engagement, suggesting that the long-term holders are unperturbed by the current price range. The long-term outlook heavily dictates the investment strategy of large wallets or whales in the current market. The 3-year projection implies that the present market price is an accumulation zone for those betting on the ecosystem's success. While the recent massive token move onto exchanges signals short-term profit-taking, the consistent hold rate over 1.5 million unique addresses suggests that the vast majority of holders are positioning for the 2026 to 2028 timeframe. The long-term narrative acts as a psychological floor, preventing catastrophic collapses, because the market is aware that major utility catalysts are still on the horizon, driving continuous accumulation during dips and keeping the market cap stable. In the immediate term, Shiba Inu is likely to continue its consolidation. The short-term forecast suggests the price will remain range-bound between the support at 900 units and resistance at 1050 units over the next 30 days. Traders will be looking for a definitive break of this upper resistance, which would require a major volume spike or a surprising successful launch of the Shibarium utility expansion. The market is currently waiting for a fresh bullish macro signal before attempting a move towards the 1200 unit level. The midterm view remains moderately bullish, largely dependent on seasonal crypto trends and the delivery of the promised Shibarium upgrades. Analysts project a potential movement toward 1350 units to 1600 units within the next quarter, provided that Bitcoin remains stable and the broader market enters a risk-on environment typically seen in late Q4/early Q1. The midterm growth will be sustained by successful implementation of governance expansion and the integration of the Treat token's full utility, which is expected to inject new interest and utility into the ecosystem. This period is critical for establishing a foundation for the 3-year view. This is the central focus of our report. Long-term models project a highly ambitious but conditional trajectory for Shiba Inu over the 2026 to 2028 timeframe. Bear case 2028. If Shibarium adoption stalls, regulatory pressure increases, and the burn mechanism remains inefficient, the token could remain range-bound, averaging a price between 1100 units and 1900 units. This scenario assumes Shiba Inu retains its community, but fails to gain substantial institutional or utility adoption. Base case 2028. Assuming the continued moderate growth of Shibarium, successful full utility of Treat, and the start of the next major bull market, the average price could stabilize in a range between 3,200 units and 5,500 units. This represents a minimum potential triple-digit percentage return from current levels and would likely erase one major zero from its price. Bull case 2028. The optimistic scenario hinges on massive institutional adoption, for example, US spot ETF approval, the Shibarium utility expansion being a resounding success, and the burn rate dramatically escalating to trillions of tokens annually. In this outcome, Shiba Inu is projected to target a range between 7,900 units and 12,500 units, a price zone that would place its market capitalization back towards its all-time high of over $52 billion and potentially surpass it. Ecosystem expansion is not just a side note, it is the fuel for the long-term price engine. Shibarium's future includes confirmed Layer 2/Layer 3 efforts, which aim to boost its speed and scalability far beyond its current capabilities. Furthermore, community sources highlight planned DAO governance expansion in Q1 2026 and strategic AI integration partnerships throughout 2026. These developments are geared toward shifting the core economic activity from Ethereum to Shibarium, making the latter the ultimate driver of deflation and utility, thus fundamentally justifying the optimistic long-term price targets. The success of this transition is the single non-negotiable factor for Shiba Inu to achieve the predicted price levels by 2028. The 3-year horizon for Shiba Inu is a study in potential, a slow consolidation now, a modest rise in the midterm, and a high reward jump by 2028. But only if utility and token burns deliver. The future of Shiba Inu is not in hype, but in the efficiency of Shibarium. Keep your eyes on those Layer 2 metrics, watch for the institutional money, and remember the vision. The SHIB Army holds the line. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. To see our most recent material, share it, and subscribe to the channel.